What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Open Door Creative. Today, we have Judy Bloom's #1 fan, Stacey Megally. What's up, Stacey?
That's me.
So the point of this series is basically to talk about our journey into advertising to hopefully help those trying to get in. So first, just kind of tell them a little about yourself.
Okay, well, I am Stacey. I am a writer. I'm a running nerd. And I'm 100% bookworm. Surprise! So many books, so little time.
So I think your story is really cool in that you had multiple careers before this. So where did it all start?
A very circuitous journey.
Nice word. See, copywriter.
Okay, well, in the mid-90s, I was in Rochester, New York at a music conservatory getting a degree in violin performance. All of my high school and most of my junior high years, I built this identity for myself. Stacey the violinist, like that's who I was. And then in the middle of my junior year of college, things just started to feel not really right. And you have to love the music more than anything else if you want to be a professional musician. And I saw all these people around me who had that love. And I just didn't have it. So when I finally admitted that I did not want to be a violinist, because I had built that identity, I felt like a failure.
Sure.
I didn't understand what life would be without it, and I felt completely unprepared for that kind of future. So a friend of mine who was older than I, she came over to my apartment and she sat on the floor with me and she was like, "Stacey, this is not an ending.
Yeah.
This is a beginning. You've got this great experience under your belt and you're 22, you could go anywhere and you could do anything." I moved back to Dallas because that's where I'm from, and I just jumped into starting this new life. First, I started to see what I had learned about myself during that time I was a violinist. One, I learned that I am not afraid of taking risks when it comes to professional work. If I feel like I'm ready, I'm going to put myself out there, not only for something for glory, but also for rejection.
Yeah, which is admirable because that's a very hard thing for a lot of people to do.
Yeah, because it hurts.
Yeah.
That rejection will break your heart.
Yeah.
The more that you do it, the stronger you get. My high school violin teacher actually told me, when you enter a competition, it's less about all the other things that are happening around you, but more about seeing what you're made out of. Second, I've been playing the violin since I was 6. So I'd really developed this resilience. I think of it like a rubber band.
Okay.
So it's tough, but it stretches, but it'll always go back to its original shape.
That's nice. That's cool.
Yeah, I like to think of it that way. And I'm talking to creative people here, so you know what I mean when I say, you learn that once you can get past that initial sting of criticism, then you can open yourself up to hearing what it is that's going to make your work better.
100%, super important.
Yeah. Then the third thing was when I was at college, that's when I really learned to execute my self-discipline.
Okay.
And so for me, that means no matter what others' expectations of me are, I'm going to set my own expectations for myself, and I'm going to do whatever I can to meet them. And I like to break those up into manageable bites. So that meant that for me, every day, I would do the 2 most important things first thing. So since I don't do well without a lot of sleep, I was like the college student living the schedule of a grandma. So I would go to bed at 9 or 9:30 and I'd wake up before the sun came out. I'd go to the gym or go for a run, and then I'd get my first practice session in all before the first class of the day.
Wow.
That way...
I woke up and was at class in 15 minutes.
Yeah. I had a lot done when I got
great.
to class. But that way I knew that I'd finish those things, and the rest of the day I could have a little flexibility,
Sure. Yep.
which is also important. So those 3 things I came away with and have really been of value to me throughout my journey.
Awesome.
Yep. Okay. So I was in Dallas and just jumped right into the job search and had no idea what I was doing. So I am a researcher. So I actually read books about job searching.
Surprising.
Surprise! I read What Color Is Your Parachute? Because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I was just applying for jobs everywhere. I was going to job fairs, And I think the most important thing that I did was I started networking and building I went home to my hometown. So I started with just all the people I knew. I contacted all my family, friends, anyone that I knew that was already working. You know, what do you do? What do you like about it?
That's cool.
Yeah.
I feel like not a lot of people do that.
Yeah, I mean, because especially, I mean, I had no idea, I was like starting with a blank slate.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to see what was out there and why people liked it, and I would tell them about what I was doing and if they had any suggestions, and, you know, who else should I talk to. Though a job fair is how I landed my very first gig, which was an assistant to the director of marketing.
Okay.
And that was really my first encounter with marketing communications.
Gotcha.
So we had collateral and premiums and trade shows, that kind of thing. And about 3 months into that, because I knew I wouldn't be able to do that forever.
Sure.
One of my networking contacts called me, and he had just started a business that imports natural stone.
Okay.
So he wanted me to work in the showroom sales.
Is that like granite and stuff, or? Oh, nice.
The granite and marble slabs.
That's cool.
That turn into countertops.
Yeah.
So we had a warehouse and showroom, and I worked in the showroom, and my primary duty was establishing and building relationships with clients, which I was pretty good at.
So you had a little account side to you.
A little bit, but pretty early on I actually realized that something was missing. And well, what's really funny is when I first came out of school, I was so scarred by the violin experience that I was like, I want nothing to do with the arts. I don't want to do anything creative. It was like for the first time. You want to do the opposite of that. Yeah. I was like, for the first time ever, I just want to do something totally different. But it turns out I did miss it. I missed like working toward something, creating something. Or I found myself just looking for opportunities to write. So if we were mentioned in a trade publication or if we were running an ad, I'd be like, okay, I'll write that.
Were you a writer before that? Like you always kind of dabbled, or was this like a first?
I like to write. I always like to write. I did a lot of creative writing when I was a kid. I took creative writing in college. And I did a lot of journal writing. I've always liked to write.
All right, cool.
I was just writing things that nobody asked for and nobody cared about and nobody probably ever used. But, you know, like I would write sales operating procedures or like a sales guidebook. Just ridiculous things.
Fun.
Yeah, just so that I could write something.
Sounds riveting, Stacey.
Yeah, it was really the highlight. I finally realized, like, okay, I have to do something different. So I started looking for jobs in marketing. And one of the things that popped up was this temp to hire job at an ad agency. And I went and they gave me a tour and they kind of told me what they did. And I was like, oh, it piqued my interest.
Yeah.
I was like, this is interesting.
Yep.
So I called my friend Laurel, who I knew from way back in the violin days. She, at that time, had gone back to grad school for advertising and was working in Boston at Mullen. And she was like, yeah, I think you should do it. I think you would like it. She told me about the program at UT. And she said, you know, it's nationally respected. And
shout out to Texas Creative.
And I think what made me decide advertising at that point was I found out I could make up words and I could change grammar rules for expressive purposes, not for no reason at all. And so I was like, okay, I'm in. I decided to go to Texas. And then actually I had several months till I was going to go to school. And I got a job offer to be an event coordinator for corporate events. And it was very fun. I got to go to Bermuda. I made a lot of friends. And
jeez, how'd you leave that job?
So I went to UT. I got into Texas Creative. It took 4 semesters of portfolio.
Oh, nice. You went all the way through P4?
I did.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
Because I started in the summer.
Yep.
So I took that intro class in the summer and was able to start right away.
That's cool.
Yep. So then I worked really hard. I came out with a book, and then it was like deja vu because I moved back to Dallas and I was jobless.
Yeah.
But this time I knew a little bit more about what I was doing. So I picked up a temp gig again as a marketing assistant. And around February, so I graduated in May, so not until February, I got a call from the recruiter at the Richards Group, who is someone I'd networked with, and she offered me an intern position there.
As a copywriter?
As a copywriter, yeah. So I worked there, and something really cool and important happened there, which was I was sitting at my little, it was kind of like a file cabinet.
Uh-huh.
It was my desk.
Your file cabinet desk.
My file cabinet desk.
Yep.
And it suddenly hit me. I was like, I am getting paid to think and to write. Like, I love to think and I love to write. And I'm getting paid for it.
My two favorite things.
Yeah. It was really life-changing.
That's cool.
Quite a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I was there. I worked really hard. I got to work on time every day, which is very important there.
Yes.
I introduced myself to every single creative director. I asked for a lot of work. I did everything that was thrown at me, and I got a lot of work produced. But the twist ending there is they did not hire me. So that does happen sometimes.
Yeah. So you got through the internship and you're like, maybe?
Yeah. Most of the time I think companies are hiring interns because they have an opening and need someone, but that's not always the case.
Yep.
So it's just all part of the journey. So I went back to job searching and interviewing, and then in August, I got a job at Wrap. I was there as a junior copywriter for about 5 months, and then I got a call from the Pier 1 Imports headquarters in Fort Worth. And actually, that summer between my internship and Wrap, I had interviewed there for a writing position in their creative department and met with their creative director, and I loved the brand, I loved the voice, I loved everything about it.
Yep.
But I did not get the job.
At Pier 1?
At Pier 1.
Okay.
But I found out later when she called me, after I'd been working at Wrap, that the creative director really liked me, but thought that I was a little overqualified for that position.
Okay.
So
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate being overqualified for it. It's like, no, like if I apply to something, it's because I want to do it.
Right. And maybe I would grow into it. Or like maybe I would do it and then something else would open up. But it turned out that something else did open up, and it was something that was going to allow me to be more creative and more conceptual than the other position.
Cool.
So when it opened up, the creative director immediately thought of me. And but by this time I was like, well, I don't know if I really want to drive all that way.
Sure.
I just got this other job. So I actually said no, and then she contacted me one more time. She was like, are you sure? Because she really wants you to come. And I was like, no, it's okay. So I said no twice, and then I just kept thinking about it. So then I called back, and I was like, oh, is it too late?
Oh, wow.
It wasn't too late. So
Gotcha.
I got the job, and I was at Pier 1 Imports, and it was awesome. I kind of felt like I was at Willy Wonka's
chocolate factory.
Yeah, chocolate candy factory. Because I love women's fashion and home fashion. It really was a fun gig. So I enjoyed all my time there. But again, talking to creative people, you know that you have to start feeling a little bit uncomfortable to grow.
Yep.
And I just felt like I was writing that brand with my eyes closed. And
Gotcha.
I was like, okay, I need to do something different.
At least
now.
you knew you were good at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like you knew that it was a good start to be like, I got this. Like
that's true. I did build a lot of confidence while I was there, and so then I felt ready to do something different. And then again, one of my networking contacts she's a girl that I worked with while I was interning at Richards Group, and she worked at Tracy Locke, which is where I am now. And so that's how I got to where I am today.
Now that we've heard your story and journey of how you got into advertising, what advice do you have for others looking to get into advertising? Especially with that copywriter point of view, because there are some copywriters on the channel that are potentially in a position that you were in. And so what advice would you give to them?
Sure. Well, one thing I would say for writers especially is when I was in my last semester in grad school, I went to my professor, Sean Thompson. He was my creative professor. And I was like, okay, look, I just keep hearing about all these people saying you have to have this burning passion for advertising.
Yeah.
Like you have to be that person who can't turn it off. And I was like, Sean, I don't walk around like writing billboard headlines.
Yeah.
I watch.
You don't think in headlines.
I do not.
Yeah.
I watch the Super Bowl because I like football.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
I have a passion for writing. I'm always thinking about writing and different ways I can write. And he said exactly what I needed to hear, which was no matter where you end up, advertising is not a bad place to learn how to write. And he was 100% correct. You learn to prioritize originality, of course. Start with a concept and then write really concisely. Like just pick just the right words to say what you want to say. He was right, and those words have stayed with me since. A couple of other things that won't be surprising now that you know my journey is one, if you graduate and you don't have a job, don't panic.
Yeah.
Do not panic.
Don't go into panic mode.
Yeah, it does not mean that you're not as good as other people who might have a job. When you get on the other side, you realize it's all about timing. It's kind of like relationships.
It is about timing.
Yeah, there's not just one perfect job out there. There are a lot of things that the person hiring is dealing with. It's like trying to fit someone into this puzzle that's already there. So I think it's like an average of 6 months that people, even if you have a job and you're looking for a new one, once you start actively looking, it's an average of 6 months before you find something.
Yep.
So I would use that time to really think about the kind of office culture you want to work in, because that's a lot more important, I think, than we realize when we first graduate.
Sure.
Like I know that I cannot work in a whiny, negative environment where people are just complaining and not doing anything about it.
Wait, are you trying to hint at something?
No, I've been working with Kevin for years. And I also need leadership that's calm and doesn't fly by the seat of their pants.
Yes, which we have.
Yes, yeah.
Twofold.
So it is important, and you can't tell everything from an interview, but you can tell some things if you have those things in your mind. And another thing is start with the goal that you have. I feel like in this industry, there's this idea it's a very particular path that people think that they should take.
Sure.
Start there, and if that's what you want, go for it. But if you ever start feeling unhappy or that you're passing up opportunities just because you don't think it quite fits in with this vision you had, like give yourself the flexibility to change your mind, because sometimes those unexpected turns and opportunities taken that you didn't think you would take turn out to be blessings, and those turns are really gifts. So I would be open to that. And the last thing I would say is once you're in your first official internship or job or whatever it is, and it's the first time that your headline or your concept or your idea gets killed and smashed to smithereens and made fun of and laughed at or whatever, you should celebrate that. Because that
Celebrate it.
Yeah, that means you're out of the sidelines, off the sidelines? You're off the sidelines,
yeah.
And you're in the ring.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's a good place to be.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for being on the show. Do you have anything you want to plug?
Oh, well, you can come see me at my website, which is stacywrites.com. I have some advertising work, some stuff I've done for the Dallas Morning News, and some other things I've written. And I was recently in a live storytelling show here in Dallas called Oral Fixation.
Which was amazing. I went to it, and you should definitely check it out. We'll definitely put the link to that as well. If not, here on the screen in the description below. So make sure to check that out.
Yeah, and it'll eventually go up on my site. There are a lot of things brewing that will eventually make it there.
For sure. So if you want to check out what's brewing, stacywrites.com. All right, great. Thanks again. Appreciate it.